Man, I just want to say first and foremost that it is a great honor and privilege to be a part of such a great group of people. I'm new to the area. I landed back in Ohio from living in sunny Southern California for 11 years and felt the call to come back to this area. I know it has to be something beyond yourself when you feel the desire to move back from Southern California to Ohio. And so we actually moved here to plant a church. But let me just set this out there, which I've kind of monitored my life and lived my life by this one statement. And that is, life moves at the speed of relationships. What I love about Rainmakers is it's far beyond just a network. It is a web of relational design that helps people move towards success. And I'm a living witness and great proof that this thing really works. And it works in ways far beyond you would actually imagine for it to work. Here's the story. Let me just lay it out for you. I moved here back at late part of September to plant the church. And we began to just kind of get our feet wet in the area, make relationships, move things forward. And Dave Green invited me to be a part of Rainmakers. When I dropped into Ohio, I had a buddy call me from Columbus, Ohio, and said, look, I know you're planting a church. I know you're trying to get it off and running. You're going to probably need something to support you in the meantime. I said, absolutely. So he said, look, I got this job. Maybe you want to do it, maybe you don't. Come check it out. He asked me, in essence, to come be a storm chaser. And so I didn't know what I was getting into. I had no background, had nothing in that field at all. And so I said, sure, let's do it. And it just so happened that it was a godsend for me. It provided me a great source of income on one job. One opportunity just kind of fell into my lap. And so I took it, ran with it. It was crazy how it happened. But in the end, when I had to let the rubber meet the road and had to continue on doing this on a day-to-day basis, it just wasn't satisfying for me. It was just something I wasn't enjoying at all. I'm the dreaded guy that after you get a good 40-mile-an-hour wind come through your neighborhood, that I'm the 15th guy to show up at your door and say, hey, you're missing a few shingles. And you're like, we already know that. Right? Like, you're so happy to see me. And I'm like, I hate doing this. Forgive me if you're a part of that. It just wasn't matching up with me. I mean, I would drive in the car and just dread having to go to somebody's door and tell them I can see damage on their house. And so I was living with this, and I was coming into Rainmakers and saying, this is what I do, and this is what I'm a part of, and all the while thinking, please don't give me any business. I hate this. I'm ready to get out of this as soon as possible. And then I went to an action circle, right? I finally got into an action circle. Ed invited me to come to the construction action circle. I was meeting at Panera Bread in Montrose. Awesome group of fellas. And I sit there, and I felt they're passing the little card around, tell us your exciting things that are going on or roadblocks. I'm thinking, roadblock? I hate my job. That's a roadblock, isn't it? And so finally it gets to me. I'm the last guy at the table. And I say, look, I feel real comfortable with you guys, so I just need to tell you something about what I do. I hate my job. I don't enjoy doing what I'm doing. And so they were so kind as to not just say, what in the world are you doing here? Get out away from our table. Don't come back here again. And they began to say, we understand why you hate your job. We would hate your job also. Matter of fact, he was doing your job a couple of years ago, and he hated it and did something else. And so it was this great therapy for me. Like, all right, this is going in the right direction. And so we stand up from that meeting, and Ed says, listen. He said, I don't know if this could work or not, but do you know Larry Bosch? And I said, well, I know who he is. He said, well, I'm getting ready to go to an action circle right now. Larry's going to be there. He's got this thing, and just maybe this thing might work out for you. And so I said, sure. He said, you have another hour and a half, 2 hours free. I said, yeah, of course. So because I didn't want to go do my job, so yeah, of course I got all day, man. And so he took me to that action circle and began to talk with the guys, introduced myself to Larry, and Larry and I stayed for about an hour after that and began to talk. And Larry set the ball in motion for me. He called Ben, who is his director. Ben calls me, gets a hold of me, had a great conversation with Ben, and lo and behold, I went last Thursday, took my life insurance exam to be on with Lincoln Heritage, passed the exam, thankfully, and beginning this next week, we'll begin to start working with Lincoln Heritage, and it's a much more fulfilling position for me in that what we will be doing is final expense insurance and being able to help people in one of their darkest moments of, well, it is the darkest moment of their life because they'll be deceased, but a really, really strong and hard moment for families. I don't know if that was proper to say or not. That's right. And so, but for me, it was almost like a ministry point. And so it just added value to me, added significance to what I'm actually going to be doing. And it was just an unbelievable experience. And let me tell you guys, Rainmakers made that happen. And you don't think when you're coming to events like this, that's what you're coming for. But you never know when relationships start working with the power of success and helping other people move their lives forward, amazing things begin to take place. So thank you, Ed. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Rainmakers. You guys are an amazing group of people to be a part of, and I'm just glad to be in Rainmakers. Thanks so much.
Okay, how many of you have tunnel vision when it comes to networking? Think about that. Tunnel vision. What is in it for me? What is the sale is basically the vision we can see. Now, I also had a background in ministry for 8 years prior to jumping into life insurance. And I was very uncomfortable jumping into life insurance when it was so aggressive. Everyone's a potential client. Sell, sell, sell. Not even worrying about the other person. What's in it for me? I have to start with the go-giver. Some of you may know the story. But I was given the book because I took someone to a networking event. Frankly, the person who gave me the book, I didn't see living the go-giver. I threw it in the back of my car. Didn't even pick it up. 2 weeks later, I meet Craig Chamberlain. We just talk a little bit, just share about each other's past. And he says, I think you'd really like this book, The Go-Giver. He wrote it down. Get back to my car. I'm like, this sounds real familiar. So I look, it's the same book. I don't know, I don't believe in coincidences, but. So I read the book, and it just resonates with me. This is me. This is what I want to do. I want to just be the go-giver. When I find opportunities, if there's something in it for me or not, I just want to give. So many of you know I'm in B&I. There's someone in my group who does life insurance. I'm in life insurance, but this person's in the investment part. He just says, look, I have this client I just can't help. I know you broker through a bunch of companies. Let me introduce you to this person. I tell the story because this led me into the final expense market. I didn't even know it was a market in life insurance. So this guy's just looking to pay for his funeral. He's got a pacemaker. He had a stroke. I mean, no traditional company would touch this guy for insurance. So I'm doing my research online. Who does final expense? I find this one company out of all the ones out there that will actually insure him, and I broker up with them. So they're reluctant to take me on because they want me to be a full-time career employee. They don't want me to be a broker. They're very afraid of brokers. No, broker, you guys won't send as much business. I had a couple deals waiting, so they brought me in because they knew I'd write 2 or 3 deals. That's how I got in. So I start liking this company. It's simple. It's a system. I'm looking for this system where I can work, and then this opportunity comes. Ed says, I know Joe and I were supposed to meet previously, and it just never happened. And so he introduced us at the Action Circle. So it's an easy connection for me. Just see if Ben's got someone. He's looking for good people. He wants people who are going to work. He got a good work ethic, so I make the introduction. He calls me 2 days like, hey, Joe's a great fit. We're going to do this. And wow, this is awesome. So about a week or 2 later, Ben calls me up and says, look, we have been strictly career employee focused only. But we have been toying with something for the last couple months, and we want to try the program out, and we want you to be in charge of it. We want you to go out and recruit independents and just add Lincoln Heritage as one of the tools in the toolbox. And we want you to be their contact. And then we also want you to be managing and trying to find some career employees. And we're going to start and put Joe right underneath you. I'm like, oh, great. And the week before, he was telling me I got to give up all my licenses, broker contracts with all these other companies. And now all of a sudden, I'm in charge of people who, in the state of Ohio and Indiana, which I spent 4 years in ministry in Indiana, have a lot of connections there. So things come full circle when we don't think of ourselves. If we can, it's hard because we have to eat, and trust me, if anyone knows, we have to eat. And I remember coming home telling my wife some of these stories, these connections. Did you make any money? Not yet, it's coming. We just be patient.
Here, read this.
Trust me. Yeah. Exactly. So I want to end just with a challenge. And that challenge is only when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, do people see the possibilities in themselves. It's not a philosophy that you can convince people by telling them or even giving them a book. I've given Go Giver to a bunch of people. Great book, it's awesome. I haven't seen anyone change who they are. But when we live it and we begin with the example, that's when extraordinary things can happen. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Okay, on to Jolt, what we're here for. We're here to rock it out. So our Jolt master is none other than the famous William Kerr. Please welcome William Kerr.